It might be a little hard to tell, but I actually really love the Pikmin series. Like, I think those games are phenomenal, and I'm so excited for Pikmin 4. I literally own all the games. Like, I've played them all. I love them. Um, so with it on the way, I decided I was going to look back at some of those older games, get ready, story-wise, 'cause no clue what I was getting into. Um, and then I think it just hit me. Like, it hit me like a Pikmin fighting Bulborb. This ain't no simple timeline. That Pikmin actually has a somewhat complicated story if you look at it, and if you give time to think about it. So I'm gonna go through my general knowledge and idea for what the Pikmin timeline is looking like for those unfamiliar with the franchise or need a bit of a refresher. This is my take on the whole thing. So I'm gonna run down through all the games and the spin-off on 3DS. Also talk a bit about Pikmin 4. There's not going to be really any spoilers. All these games are old anyway. Pikmin 3 was what? 2013? Wow, it's been such a long time. Um, if you want to see me talk more about stuff like this or Pikmin in general, make sure to grab a Yoshi egg and smash that subscribe button with it. Yep, that's a thing now. Uh, anyway, on to the video. So I'm going to run down the basic plot points for all the games, and then I'll get into the general timeline. So Pikmin 1 stars Captain Olimar. He crashes on PNF 404 from his home planet, Hokute, I don't know how to pronounce it. He encounters the Pikmin, which he does name in this first entry. They gather the pieces for his ship before he runs out of life support in 30 days. He has 30 ship parts, you're supposed to get one a day, whatever. There's 3 endings to this game. 2 of which basically have the same outcome, but there's 3 endings. There is the true-ish ending. I don't know if it's considered true or not, but I'm going to just say the best ending. You get all 30 ship parts, basically 100% the game, and you have a little final goodbye with the Pikmin as Olimar returns home. There's another ending where you have all of the required ship parts. You'd think all of them would be required, but no. And he just kind of pieces out and goes home with what he has. And then there's another one where he tries to piece out, but fails because he doesn't have all the required trip parts and dies. It just dies. His life support's out. So the Pikmin carry him to one of the onions and plant him with a black stem. That is the bad ending of Pikmin 1. So following the 2 good endings, I guess, directly to Pikmin 2. So Pikmin 2 takes place right after the events of Pikmin 1, like it's directly after. So Olimar returns back with his original ship. Turns out his company is in massive debt because a newbie named Louie screwed up on a mission. Got attacked by space rabbits, lost some gold carrots, and they're in big debt. And then the president realized, oh my god, there's a ton of treasure on this planet. We can get the money. So he sends Olimar and Louie back to PNF 404 to retrieve a ton of treasure so they can get the money needed to pay off the debt. Olimar and Louie succeed. The 2 return home. Well, Olimar returns home. Louie is left to fend for himself for a while. They go back. Olimar's like, we paid off your debt. Also forgot Louie. So him and the president go back, save Louie, return home. They also get all the remaining treasure for extra money. But I just want to point out, there are credits showing Louie fending for himself, being alone. So I'm going to mark that down as an end to that game. There is an ending where Louie's just stuck there. So I'm going to mark that down for later. Finally, to complete this amazing trilogy, Pikmin 3 follows Captain Charlie, the engineer Alf, and the botanist Brittany on a search for food for their planet as they're starving. They crash land on PNF 404, Alf ends up with the ship, and soon after he finds Brittany with the help of the Pikmin, as well as Captain Charlie. They realize they don't have the cosmic drive key to go back to their home planet, so they need to search for it, and they realize Captain Olimar has it. So they find him. Just kidding, it was Louie who stole their food, and then Louie was tied up. They realized it was not Olimar, and they found Olimar with the cosmic drive key. Now, what happens here? They all go home together. They live on different planets, they're from different places, so they drop off Olimar and Louie, and they go back home. In Pikmin 3 Deluxe, though, we actually get more of that. We get a epilogue. Olimar and Louie just left the ship. The ship from Pikmin 2 is just there. So they decide to Go back. Well, they don't decide to. They're forced to by the captain. They're not allowed to return home. Because the president is like, we want that shit back. That is a lot of money. So they go back. Basically, it's Pikmin 1 again. They get back parts, more treasure. They go home. Well, we don't have any real info on the plot of Pikmin 4 yet. I'll get into that later. We do have Hey Pikmin on 3DS. Simple spin-off. Not really sure if it's canon or not. But it does contain a few things I want to point out. For one, it contains Sparklium. This is actually a big part of the Pikmin 4 demo and is the general idea behind the game of Pikmin 4. So I want to point that out as that's introduced here. We also get the SS Dolphin 2, meaning this has to take place after the events of, at the very least, Pikmin 3, or Pikmin 2 at that, because he needs that chip. You know, it has to take place some point there. So that's good knowledge for where we can pinpoint it later on. Now I'm just gonna go over basically the demo real quick for Pikmin 4, so everyone has a general understanding of what we're working with here. So Pikmin 4, this demo opens with Olimar. You basically do the plot of Pikmin 1. You get to the end. You send a broadcast calling out for people, and a ton of people end up crashing trying to save Olimar. Rescue squad comes. They also screw up. Then boom, new guy. You're the new guy. You got to save everyone with the help of a dog. Olimar also had the help with a dog. That was not in the first game. That was somewhat retconned, somewhat changed. So Olimar has a dog in this instance of Pikmin 1. And it's also basically confirmed as you play it, that red thing in the trailers that also has the dog that Olimar had in the opening of the game. That's just going to be Olimar. It's going to be revealed to be Olimar. Let's be real here. That's just Olimar. I mean, what more information do we need? Looks like Olimar has the dog Olimar had, has good Pikmin skills, and guess who the only character by the time of Pikmin 1 who has Pikmin skills? Guess who that is? Oh, that's right, Olimar. So, with a general understanding out of the way, here's my, not necessarily definitive, my understanding of the Pikmin timeline. So we start with the original Pikmin on GameCube, Wii, and now Switch. Those three games, they're all the same, just different control schemes. Pikmin 1, and then it splits. The timeline immediately splits from there. So if Pikmin 1, as it goes normally, if you get either the true ending, which is the ending where you get all the parts, or the good-ish ending where you get the required ones, it goes right to Pikmin 2. On the other hand, if you get the bad ending, that is a branched timeline where Olimar is a Pikmin with a black stem. Rock Pikmin did not exist at this point in just the world. They weren't introduced to Pikmin 3, which was like 15 years later. God, that's such a long time. On the other hand, I'm not going to call this a good or bad timeline, but if there's a dog in the mix of this story, it leads you to the events of Pikmin 4, where Olimar calls out for help. I assume, this is my understanding, what the big difference here is, the reason Olimar is not just trying to leave and is calling for help this time is because he has the dog. I think he wants to keep the dog and or do something with the dog. So by extent, he is calling out for help because he wants the dog to have help, which leads to the events of Pikmin 4. So Pikmin 1 seemingly leads to three separate scenarios: a bad ending, Pikmin 4, and Pikmin 2. Now, we don't necessarily know where Pikmin 4 is going to go, and the bad ending seemingly is its own timeline, and that might also be connected to Pikmin 4, but if I need to, I will update this after Pikmin 4 comes out and we get all that information. So Pikmin 2, if you get one of the two good endings, you're in Pikmin 2 now. Olimar and Louie go out. Now, it's not confirmed whether or not Louie's first ending where he's stranded does actually happen. I'm going to go with the assumption that that's another branch timeline where they just leave Louie to die. The only reason I suggest that is because there is a, I guess, unlockable sort of post-credit thing where we realize Louie's dark secret. He ate the golden carrots that caused his death in the first place. I like to think that maybe this actually is something the president finds out about, and that first ending, that's one of the options where the president found out before the events of the post-game of Pikmin 2, and was like, you know what? one less burden to bear, and he just kind of let Louis die. Obviously, that's not what happened. The true ending, the president goes with Almar and their golden ship, and they save Louis. Save Louis to go home. Get all the treasure. And then from Pikmin 2 is the Pikmin 3 games. I see games as Deluxe has post-game content that is not in the original. So I'm going to separate them by original and Deluxe. So these both take place after events of Pikmin 2, where we learned that they wanted more money. So Olimar and Louis went back. They were captured by the Plasma Wraith, the gold thing. I assume that's the gold from their ship. Listen, the amount of theories surrounding like the Water Wraith, the Plasma Wraith, and all those things, I am not getting into that today. There's a lot I could talk about, and I could definitely do whole videos on each of them. But I'll save that for a completely other time. If you want to hear it, let me know, though. So in the original Pikmin 3, we had a tease of all the Pikmin running off towards a shooting star, sunset, crash ship, whatever the case. I'm just going to call it the unknown shipwreck ending, seemingly teasing that they went back for treasure and they crashed again or something. I don't know. Long story short, that's just another timeline. And then on the other hand, Pikmin 3 Deluxe, we see the Almar Louis post-game. Now, between this whole timeline, there is one connective thing, and that's the true endings to these games. Pikmin's one true ending goes directly to Pikmin 2. That true ending goes to Pikmin 3. I think Pikmin 3 Deluxe's new Olimar Louis ending is what leads to Hey Pikmin, as they not only get their old ship back, plus more money, but Olimar has a new ship and is by himself. And he's also familiar with rocket-winged Pikmin, which he didn't meet till Pikmin 3. So it's safe to assume that if you follow the true endings to all of the games, 1 through 3 at least, you get to Hey Pikmin. And then if you want Pikmin 4, you gotta have a goodish, baddish ending of Pikmin 1, and that's how you get Pikmin 4. And that is the Pikmin timeline summed up in a couple minutes. I did not think there would be so much depth to, honestly, 4 games. The spin-off means nothing in the overall timeline. Also, I was going to say Hey Pikmin's its own thing, because Olimar's voice is high-pitched when it's really deep, and genuinely one of my favorite things about how this tiny little dude has, like, the deepest voice in all of Nintendo history. It's just the funniest thing. I love him. But yeah, that's the Pikmin timeline, in my opinion. Pikmin 1, bad ending. Pikmin 4, good. Pikmin 2, and then the 2 endings to that. Pikmin 3's, and then Hey Pikmin. Maybe it's a bit more complicated, maybe it's a bit simpler, but that's my general understanding with above average fan knowledge of this game. Tell me what you think in the comments below. If you have anything to point out. I was going to say you could probably track via the Pikmin where these all fit in and by how they're introduced and talked about. You could probably track where they all fit in, but that I'm going to be honest, that's just too much work for me. And who knows, Pikmin 4 might actually be a bad ending, and we might actually want to get an ending where Louis is stranded, and we go back. And we find, like, Louis is the king of the bugs or something. I don't know. I am extremely excited for Pikmin 4, and I can't wait to play it in a few weeks at that. So, again, grab that Yoshi egg, throw it, and smash that subscribe button. And I'll see y'all next time. Have a lovely day, everyone.